Arizona State Senator Wendy Rogers responded to the Buffalo shooting, a racially motivated shooting, as a false flag. And we live in America where the right wing always looks out after their own. They always protect their own no matter what. So I assume that she would continue spewing her disgusting white supremacist garbage with absolutely no consequences. But it turns out the GOP-controlled Arizona Senate has voted to investigate Wendy Rogers for linking FBI to Buffalo shooting. The Republican-controlled Arizona Senate voted on Monday to open this investigation into Rogers after she alleged on social media that the FBI was behind the mass shooting in Buffalo that killed 10 people by a 24-3 vote, Cenk.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, 24-3 vote, 24-3 vote. The Arizona Senate votes to hold this ethics investigation.
Are we sure they're not investigating to see if it's true? I mean, it's Republicans.
Yeah.
They investigated 1,000 times over to see if the ghost of Hugo Chavez had stolen the 2020 election, even though he died 7 years ago. I mean, they're nut jobs, right? So, but, okay, assuming that they mean good intent here, like, hey, you can't do this, which I think is fair to assume here, kidding aside, okay? They have to do this. Otherwise, what I said earlier in the show holds. All Republicans are bastards because they have constant people talking about replacement theory. Matt Gaetz, Elise Stefanik. Newt Gingrich on Fox News said that they're trying to replace classic Americans. What the hell does classic Americans mean? They're constantly talking about race and how you don't want white people replaced by non-white people. It is overtly racist. It's all over Fox News. It's all over the Republican Party. Scott Perry, the list goes on. Stefanik is the number 3 Republican in the House. That's Republican leadership that's doing it. So you know what they say about Muslims? If one Muslim does something wrong, they say all 1.6 billion Muslims have to apologize. Now that doesn't make any sense, but now when 40% of Republicans say that it's time for political violence, and nearly 50% of Republicans say that they agree with great replacement theory, either a little or a lot, and you have all of these Republican leaders saying and doing racist things, then it is incumbent upon Republicans, because now that is a sizable portion of your electorate and your leadership, to say, hey, you know what? Her wildly, by the way, not just racist, but anti-Semitic theories don't stand for the Republicans in Arizona. So it's a good first step. If they actually take action, okay, then I'll begin to believe them. Until then, if you're not standing up for the racists in your own party, then what does it say about you? Like, we stand up against Democrats doing wrong all the time.
That's right.
Nonstop. That's right. To the point where people in Washington hate us for accurately pointing out what is wrong with Democratic leaders and the Democratic Party overall. Do right-wingers ever do the same? No, because a lot of them celebrate her racism and anti-Semitism.
Now, there's also one other part of this story, and it's what the Democrats in Arizona wanted to do. So for instance, Rebecca Rios, who's a Democratic leader, called for a vote to expel Rogers, but the Senate president, who's a Republican, ruled it out of order. Look, I don't know if that's necessarily the right way to go either. Look, getting rid of Rogers doesn't solve the problem. You get what I'm saying? Like, doesn't mean I don't want her to face any consequences for what she's doing and what she's pushing out there. But at the same time, she is a symptom of something that's far deeper, right? Remember, she didn't just walk into power. The voters in Arizona, gave her that power.
Yeah, look, unfortunately, Arizona's become a perfect case of what's wrong with both parties.
She looks like a sociopath, like just.
No, she's more important than that. She talks like a sociopath.
Exactly.
So the right wing, having lost their minds, have elected officials like this. We told you earlier in the show about all of her different anti-Semitic conspiracy theories and how she thinks, she keeps alluding to how Jews control everyone, and that is core to the white replacement theory that the Jews are doing it, okay? So it's really grotesque, and this insane brand of the right wing has largely taken over. Again, if they actually do a real investigation, and this isn't just a cover to protect her in the short term while everybody's paying attention, and they actually kick her out of the party, well, then I'll give them credit because facts matter, right? And say, hey, look, they're starting to rescue their party from this toxic racism, et cetera, right? But in Arizona, we also have the worst Democrat, one of the worst Democrats, Kristen Sinema. And she's a perfect representative of the corruption of the Democratic Party, where she just grabs the corporate cash. And by the way, Mark Kelly, another Democratic senator from Arizona, just voted with Manchin on a corporate issue that was definitely against, that he voted against something that would have helped the people, obviously on behalf of his corporate donors. So you got 2 Democratic senators there that are like, oh, corporate cash, that's what I live for, that's what I work for. And the Republicans are like, oh, half of them are like, we love the corporate, actually 90% of them are like, we love the corporate cash too. But now you have a sizable portion who go, well, we want to represent corporations, but we also want to do racism and insane conspiracy theories. So both parties have to sort themselves out, and Arizona is a perfect place to start. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.